Alright, so the next step in these transmission builds is to take this pulley and to swap it out with a smaller one. I'm going to go from this pulley here to a standard 6-inch pulley, but if you buy them, they don't have the piece in the center unless you order it separately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of the pop rivets that are in here, I'm going to grind them all out. Then I'm going to cut it off along the outside edge so that I have a center flat cookie area. That way I can weld this directly through using the rivet holes in order to make tack rivets, and then weld the entire outside edge. And make sure you've got your hearing protection in. Alright, so now we're going to take and line it up and punch those pins through. So as you can see, all of them are punched through. Now we're going to cut this outside edge off on both sides. That way we have something to weld to. Alright guys, well normally I do this in an anybody in the regular shop can do this type fashion, but it's Christmas Eve and I just do not have time to be monkeying around. So I ran over to the other side of my shop and I grabbed my plasma cutter and I nicked all the way around here. So we'll get it knocked out and go from there. So there we go. We've got our centerpiece now. So we're going to grind it up and clean it up, and then we'll go ahead and weld onto it, which you can see right there. And so now if you take your pulley and set it right there, it lines up, and now we can just weld through the holes on the bottom and we should be good to go. Alright, so remember when you're doing something like this that you need to weld back and forth so that you don't end up causing it to bow. So you need to weld a little here, a little there, a little here, a little there, and go back and forth with it so it doesn't bow anywhere in particular. Alright, so at this point, if you're using flux core like I am, you're going to need to go through and clean up all of the flux. So that's why we have a second grinder here with a wire brush, and we'll get that done. Alright, so there's our thoroughly crafted pulley. I'm gonna get it mounted up, and from there pretty much you should be on your way. The transmission at this point, you should be able to figure out how to put it back on, and otherwise than that, there we go. Have a good day. Alright guys, one of those horrible holding the camera videos. So basically I wanted to explain why it was I chose a 6-inch pulley in order to do this system, and basically the reason why I chose it was because this is my shifter, and what I did was I took it and I shifted it all the way over and I measured from here, and then I shifted it all the way over the other way and measured from there, and I ended up with 5 1/4 inches roughly between here to there where the shifting locations were. And so I bought the 6-inch pulley instead of dropping to the 5, hoping I would gain just barely enough. And as you can see, when it's all the way over, as long as it's sitting smooth, which I might bend it just a little, it just barely in 6th gear touches. But in 5th, it obviously has plenty of room. Also, there's too much play in this. Unfortunately, AutoZone didn't have the size I need, so I need to buy one more. Alright, and now the last problem when you install your transmission and you have the smaller pulley is your belt tensioner no longer sits correctly. So now if I drop the clutch, my belt just falls right off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take here where this originally came out, I'm going to bend it slightly and bring it in, and then over on this side I'll bend it back and then over and back down into its hole. Alright, so as you can see, I brought this over and I bent it around and then brought it back across and rebent it in here so that it fits across into its hole. So now if we drop the clutch, everything floats, and it's a little harder to take off, but I think I still may need something in the rear. Haven't quite decided yet, but I may put some sort of bunt from here to here. Oh, and on one last note, if you found this helpful, you ought to join my Facebook group. It's called Maine Mud Mowers on Facebook. I'll post a link down in the description. Feel free to come join. Criticize, make jokes, tell us what you've done, post up a video. I don't care. As long as it's mud mower related, I would love to have it. Have a good day.